Well, hello. So, as many people have probably seen, there's a ban potentially going into effect at the federal level in several states that are banning vaping. So last night, Utah is banning open systems but not closed, which boggles my mind because you figure closed systems are where, most people go if they want to be stealthy and vape in a school or whatever. So what's the real point of banning open, like your GFE 8s, 12s, Cletos, Falcons, Profile RDAs? Banned, but let's not ban the other thing. The pod systems that they're supposed to be corrupting the youth of America. So then let's go with New York. New York and Emperor Andrew Cuomo wants to ban the sales of prohibited. Well, he's going to prohibit it. I'm sorry, wording. He's going to prohibit the sale of flavored e-juice except for tobacco. So what's this mean? Well, you figure most companies that I know that are made in New York, like Bad Drip, Yeti, DC Laboratories, there's Primus. Those four companies do not have a tobacco e-juice. Yeti's got like a tobacco, like vanilla caramel, but that's all going to be banned. So not only is Cuomo killing his business for tax revenue off of, people that run the shops, their wages taxed, the property tax for people that own the building or rent the building. I'm sure they still have tax. The workers in the juice manufacturing companies like Bad Drip, Yeti, Primus, DC, their wages, their property tax, and he's just gonna wipe them off the face of New York. For what? Because of teen vaping? Why don't we focus on like teen heroin use? Yeah, that's illegal, but you figure you're gonna raise the black market because, okay, it's banned in New York. But what states are close to New York? You got Pennsylvania on the bottom, and then you got whatever the fuck on top. I know it sounds stupid, I can't remember what's on top of New York State. It's Vermont or Boston. Either way, or Massachusetts, whatever. Either way, there's other states surrounding New York. The people will go down, buy their e-juice in a legal state, bring it back to New York, and upcharge it, which will be bootlegging, which is the black market. So who knows what you'll be buying when you go to get that Bad Drip Pennywise, if you'll have someone stick a syringe in it with some fentanyl or whatnot, instead of having reputable shops that have a reputation over the last couple of years imposing some regulations on them. You can only sell 5 bottles per transaction or per person per day, whatever. Track it with their phone number or something, slash the shop being responsible for it. Something. Raising the age to 21. But let's not ban cigarettes. Let's ban nicotine products that are vapable, but not cigarettes. Though cigarettes are supposed to be connected in some way to where if you vape, you smoke cigarettes. Now listen, I went off of cigarettes about 4 years ago, and I went to vaping. I had nothing but problems with that specific vape But come to find out, everybody did. It was the Kangertech NE box or knee box. Nothing but problems with it leaking. So it kind of was discouraging. So I went and bought the Vapresso Target 1, the original one. Dry hits galore on those ceramic coils. So I was like, oh, and then also the firing pin, the 510 pin, the wire fell off of it, so then it wouldn't even, it said check atomizer all the time because it was only getting half the power. Would not fire up. So I went back to cigarettes. Went through 2 cartons in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, which was abnormal because I normally go through a carton a month. And I was like, okay, I gotta get back into this vaping thing, try this again. So I took apart my Target, resoldered where it needed to be soldered because the people I bought it from kind of had that idea of it, and clearly there was a wire. I soldered it, and currently, 3.5 years later, it still works. Still fires up, never blew up in my hand. So then, from that jumping point, I've had a relapse or two. Mostly when I've been drinking, but last 2.5 years, I have not had a cigarette. The smell of cigarettes are disgusting to me now because of vaping. The flavors kind of make it's kind of what it, people are always like, why do you need flavor? Why do you need flavor? It's more or less like, why do you need to go to a recipe book and look for new recipes? Because it's fun. Okay, I want to try this, a new recipe for Brussels sprouts to make them not taste like Brussels sprouts. You can do that. Go on Pinterest, go on recipe books. For us, okay, well, I don't want to vape tobacco because that's what I'm leaving. I'm leaving tobacco, plus tobacco vapes suck. I have not found a tobacco vape that tastes halfway decent at all. They all taste like burnt graham crackers. But anyway, I digress. It's you can, there's a lot of exploration in self, projection, where you want a certain flavor. Hell, you want to smell like a certain flavor and it tastes good. Okay, I want to buy, like, my favorite, Primus's prickly pear. Love that flavor. And I project a sweet pear and watermelon smell, and I don't smell like an ashtray. Now, a lot of people are saying if they ban these products, they're going to go back to cigarettes, or they're pushing them back to cigarettes. And I can see that, because if you want your nicotine, if that's part of your daily routine, and you want nicotine to help wake up or to deal with stress, and you don't want to be on pharmaceutical drugs for stress and shit, and a cigarette just gets you through the day, or a vape, let us do it. There's no point in banning these products to help the youth of America. The youth of America, where it comes down to, where kids are vaping, is a parenting problem. It's not these products getting in the hands of kids, because that's going to happen no matter what. You're going to have older brothers, older sisters, older friends. Hey, I got $50, go buy me some juice. I got $100, go buy me a kit because I can't get it online, or however you want to build a scenario. It's not, being marketed towards kids. There's no marketing for vaping. The only vaping marketing, which is their problem, not the rest of the industry, is Juul. Juul advertises on a lot of different media. You go to a gas station, you see Juul all over the front windows, and that is on Juul and the gas station for putting those up. It comes down to a parenting problem. If you know your 16-year-old's vaping, do something about it. Don't just be like, oh, Yeah, his favorite flavor is watermelon. No. Fucking do something about him. Put him in fucking boot camp. Put him in timeout. I don't know. Do something about your kids. Have them arrested. I don't know. Do something with your kids to where they are not vaping. You know? Yeah, they're seeing them in all these schools and everything too. Parents that buy vapes for their children and the government can prove it should be prosecuted for child endangerment. Now you might see I have a car seat in the back. This vehicle gets regularly cleaned, and I only have the windows up for this video. But I do not vape around my child either, because it's wrong. There needs to be regulations to protect kids, but there also needs to be parents that say, hey, I'm going to be an active parent and not have my kid vape. Here, I'll vent it a little bit. But yep, so I guess the flavor ban can go into effect any day now. It's going to ban any flavors besides tobacco in New York and Utah and Michigan. I think's already done it. San Francisco's already done it. But it's just going to raise the black market. And they spearheaded this whole thing on a preconceived notion of lung disease being so rampant in the vape community and people's lungs collapsing and everything. I've been vaping for 3 years. I can breathe better. I have more stamina for running than I did with cigarettes. Get upstairs without being out of breath. I smell better. There's a lot of benefits that I have reaped from vaping. Where it comes down to is back to the black market. People buying cartridges for their cartomizers, basically a vape that is for THC. It's a very thin battery that looks like a pen almost. People buying those and then vaping pesticides, fentanyl, all those. I guess the other one that was found recently was vitamin E extract, which apparently once it's heated up to the point of vaping becomes toxic. It's kind of like nickel. You know, for a while there, people were vaping off of nickel, and it was getting them sick because nickel is not supposed to be heated up to the point of vaporizing. But nickel wire now is turned into nichrome. I've used nichrome recently. I hate the taste of it. I feel like I'm tasting the nichrome versus the juice flavor. So I stick around with Canthal. But Canthal, it works, you know, good flavor, and you're not breathing like crazy. You figure I've been talking for how long and I'm not even winded yet? Like, for real, like cigarettes used to kill my lungs, kill my mouth, never tasted anything right. How long is this video? 13 minutes? Yeah, we're at the 13-minute mark. But yeah, the black market is what's been selling it. You know, at least in New York State, they've had recent deaths and problems with fentanyl-laced pot, like ground up pot, that you would put in like a pipe or a bong or whatever, and cocaine. So this black market is what the issue is. And there's the dark web where people buy probably vapes that are, marijuana vapes, and have them sent to their house, and it's a bunch of different cartridges full of vitamin E or fentanyl or pesticides. It's more or less an issue of the black market and the real underground seedy places people buy vaping products. But they're using, when I say they, the governments, federal and state, are using these deaths and medical issues from illegal, certainly illegal substances and dangerous substances to tie in nicotine, straight up nicotine. which nicotine does have actual benefits for your body. I found out recently, I knew it helped with like memory, and it also helps with fighting possibilities, fighting, not 100%, but helps keep Alzheimer's, from happening. It because of your memory and how much the effects on the brain it does, the positive effects it has on the brain. I believe it also, nicotine itself, helps prevent cerebral palsy and Parkinson's. Found out recently. I believe it's those two. But you're also not burning combustible elements and inhaling them into your body. You have a coil, you have a wick. It vaporizes it just like a Zippo, kind of wicks up with the lighter fluid, and you spark it, and then you have a flame. Same idea, but instead of sparking it, you are vaporizing the material to then breathe in. You figure cancer patients have been using THC vaporized e-liquid for the last, 5 years? Ever since it became legal in Colorado and stuff. They've been prescribing vaping e-cigarettes with THC to cancer patients so that they don't have the carcinogens of actual, joints, bongs, all that other nasty shit. They're vaporizing THC to help cancer patients. So they're, it's not a terrible technology, vaping. The government's been using it to treat cancer. I think they also treat anxiety, pain, AIDS, several different ailments and diseases and viruses to help a person's quality of life. But you put nicotine with some flavoring in there, and it's all over from there. And I know a couple years ago they had, it causes popcorn lung, and popcorn lung was actually a select few of flavors that had buttery flavoring in them. And what happened? Those companies recalled those products in order to save people from getting hurt and or damaged lungs. But there's been nothing coming out about fruity flavors being bad for you. Desserty flavors a lot, besides like buttered popcorn. Buttered popcorn was the biggest one I heard that was giving people popcorn lung. Though it didn't have one single shred of scientific evidence or cases that they could prove were tied into it. I don't know. And then you have Trump that wants to ban them all throughout all the states. So I know, at least for me, I'll be stocking up last couple months. Maybe I'll quit, but I don't go back. I'm not going back to cigarettes, and I'm not going to just cold turkey give it up. I'm hoping that the government sees that they how much money they're going to be losing out on, and I don't even care if they tax or regulate it. Put a tax on it. A 10% or 15% tax. Tax it. Whatever. Take the money, put it towards schools. I don't give a shit. Put it somewhere besides your pocket. That's all I have to say. Put it in education for kids. Because at least I know in New York State, they don't take their gambling, which is supposed to be going to education, and take gambling and put it into schools. You have tons of schools all over New York and New York City, because it's still tied to it. Still freaking part of New York, even though it really should be a whole other state. That closed down and fires, teachers, and never had books and want all this money donated. No, when you establish fucking gambling, you put gambling as the number one funding for schools, and yet you're not doing it. Because there's enough casinos and racinos in New York State that they should be able to support all of the schools with their taxes. Why are we firing teachers? Well, if you want to line your pockets and do that, tax vaping. Because people are going to vape no matter what. They'll figure out a way. There's ways to make it yourself. There's DIY ways to make flavors. And, get your VG and PG shipped to you before the ban. Big-ass containers that will last you forever. Especially, if you buy multiple ones, you probably could have juice for at least 6 to 8 months, depending on how much you use. But yeah, vape ban. I'm sorry, flavor ban. It really is ridiculous to ban flavors. Let's just put it this way. Back to the recipe book idea. It's fun exploring new flavors, okay? Like Badger puts out a new flavor, and I'm a huge Badger fan. I will go purchase it, even if it was taxed. They'd make money, but whatever. Just not get on that. Blueberry pie. Oh, that sounds good. I'll try that for the day. Whatever. I'll try a bottle of that. It makes it more interesting to vape. But it also, you figure, straight nicotine tastes bad. I've gotten nicotine on my tongue. There's really no flavor, it just kind of tingles with straight nicotine up to your tongue. But, when you vape, you get to explore, change up and actually have something that tastes good besides a cigarette. And hell, there's people that stick with the same flavor every day, and they might switch it out so they don't get vapor's tongue. Vapor's tongue is where basically your body gets used to the same flavor and then it tastes like nothing. Which, that's just, olfactory fatigue. And if they want to ban it because of olfactory fatigue, then don't walk into someone's house and sit there for 5 minutes, because if someone's house smells like ass and you sit there for 5 minutes, olfactory fatigue sets in so you don't smell ass. So, I don't know where I'm going to post this video. All I know is I'm glad I made it. It'll go on some social media platform. But that's the skinny of this whole ban. And the other one last thought. I still got some time. If you think about it, really sit down and think about it. It's big tobacco's losing money because kids, at least, I'm 30 years old. When I was in high school, the two major drugs people were using were cigarettes and weed and alcohol, so 3. Now, kids are vaping. Tobacco industry is not seeing as much money because youth's not smoking cigarettes, they're vaping. People 30s, 20s to 30s to 30s to 40s to 40s to 50s to 50s to 60s are vaping because it is a healthier alternative. You can say whatever you want about the damage down the road. But if I'm not feeling damage now, and it's supposed to be this toxic and this bad, down the road, I don't imagine having any real ailments. I feel better than I did with cigarettes, and I've been doing it for just as long as I did cigarettes. They're really, and you also vaporizing material and not combusting it. It's just the facts. But big tobacco's losing out on money. You figure healthcare losing out on people potentially going through emphysema from cigarettes, or any other ailments that are caused by cigarettes. Emphysema I know is the biggest one from cigarettes. But you have people that are getting healthy using vaping to quit cigarettes, not just to vape. I vape because it's just a vape. But you have people that will buy a vape, $20 to $30, $40, depending on what they buy, and their coils and juice, vape for 3 months and quit. Be like, okay, I don't need this anymore, and be done. Give their vape to somebody else or whatever. What are they hurting? They tried, Chantix and everything. Even the press releases from New York State and Trump say, if people want to use tobacco to quit smoking and they've tried Chantix and tried all this, we're going to leave it for them. Leave them flavors. It's a little bit easier pill to swallow than nasty ass tobacco taste. You know, a watermelon, pear, guava. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'll talk to you later. Bye.